Hello! In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you another portion of my collection in detail, and this time it's all about my powders. I feel good about the powders that I have in my collection, and I'm really excited to share all the details, all the things. So along with each powder, I will be showing you them close up, demoed on the skin, so that you can see how they look, as many details as possible. And that's what I like about doing my collection this way, kind of breaking it up and focusing in on particular sections, is I get to share details about each product. Because yes, I could just show you everything, but I don't feel that that would be as helpful as showing you a portion and details about each product. So as always, I'll have timestamps down below, all the details, all the things today from my collection, my powders. Shall we? Now when it comes to powders, you've got quite the selection. There are loose powders, setting powders, translucent powders, finishing powders. There's a lot of powders. We're going to touch on each, and I'll quickly share with you what each is supposed to do. So let's start off with translucent powder. What is translucent powder? So we can just right away say it's kind of like what it sounds. It is pretty much a colorless or a powder that is near to no color. It's designed to help absorb oil from your more oilier areas. Now here's the thing, with a translucent powder, that is something that you can use all on its own after your skincare. And what that'll do is that you'll just kind of set you in place and keep your oils at bay and keep you looking flawless, because there are a lot of translucent powders on the market that have properties in them that will blur you and just smooth your skin out. So if you're one that doesn't love a ton of makeup, do your skincare and do a little dusting of translucent powder, and you're gonna love the way your skin looks and feels all day. I do that with a lot of my powders, and you'll see, I'll share that when we get into the demo portions as I talk about each of my products. But that is a fun little thing with powder. There's versatility in powder. Don't think that powder is only for your full glam days. Oh my goodness, no. No, no, no. It's a lot more to it than that. Setting powder. Setting powder is exactly what it sounds like. It is the powders that you want to set your products in place. So like a translucent powder, setting powder is also a powder usually that is designed to help soak up any oils. So as soon as you're finished with your makeup, you can go ahead and use a setting powder, and what that'll do is that'll lock everything in place and keep any shine at bay. Again, it's not going to be completely flat, dull, dry. It all depends on the particular setting powder that you would use. But overall, this is just like a generalized kind of statement when it comes to this particular category of powders. Finishing powders. Now, hey, we just talked about setting powder. Why do we need to talk about a finishing powder? What, are they not the same? Actually not. No, they're not. So unlike a setting powder, a finishing powder is what you would go over top after you've finished to almost give you that filter. Think Hourglass. The Hourglass finishing powders, I mean, you could use it to set, but there's just something about an Hourglass. I'm just saying Hourglass as an example because there's a ton on the market. We know this. But if you go in with the finishing Hourglass powder on top, you're going to notice you get that even more blurred, smooth, perfected, truly finished effect. Plain and simple. A lot of finishing powders, they are also very, very extremely finely milled. So when you dust them all over the skin, again, it's going to give you that super smooth and blurred effect to really finish everything up and just meld everything together. And a lot of the finishing powders, let's say you maybe got a little carried away with blush and bronzer, and you're just like, whoa, going in with a finishing powder really will just meld everything together in a way that it's not going to disrupt it and muddy it, but it's just going to refine it and perfect it and finish it. Now, another difference between a setting powder and a finishing powder is most finishing powders do not focus on any oil absorbing at all. It's just focused to smooth and finish up everything, versus the setting powder, which has more so focus on oil absorbing and just locking everything in place. Pressed powder. As it sounds, it's a compressed powder, and they usually most always come in a compact. And not every single powder that comes in a compact is a pressed powder. It'll say pressed powder. And pressed powders, yes, you can use them to set. I actually have one that I use to set. We'll talk about it when we get into that portion of the video. But pressed powder, it's a great product to keep on hand, keep in your desk at work, keep in your purse, you know, wherever you keep your little makeup goodies, to touch up, to just refine, just to, if you want to cut down on a little bit of shine that may be coming through. A pressed powder is really, really something that's perfect for that. Loose powder. I kind of feel like loose powder of all the powders is my favorite. I feel like loose powder is somewhat the most versatile. And I find that majority, not all, obviously, this is a very generalized statement, but majority of loose powders I find to give the most airbrushed effect to the skin. One thing I will say is, yes, I love me a loose powder, but of all the powders is the messiest. But then again, it's worth it because the finish that a loose powder gives to your skin, chef's kiss. Now, here's something to keep in mind. With a loose powder, you can use a loose powder like a finishing powder and like a setting powder. And a lot of loose powders come with luminizers and glittery bits. So those are beautiful to use as highlights on the skin, use on the body and things like that. So I feel like loose powder is, of the powders, the one that's a little, not a little, but the one that's the most versatile, meaning it can do so many things. It's like a well-rounded type of product. Two things I want to share with you before we get into the details and my collection and the demo and all that stuff is don't bake. Don't bake. I feel like when we were 20 and 19 and like 15, baking was amazing. But I feel as I've gotten older, baking isn't what it's all hyped up to be. Whereas, yes, I have puffs, okay? Got my puffs, okay? And you can press your powder into your skin, but baking, every time I bake, I look like I baked and I look caked. And another thing is always, always, always keep your powders clean. Especially the pressed ones, is going to help prevent getting like hard pan and getting breakouts and stuff like that. And even the loose products, I'll even, you know, when we get to it, I'll share. Sometimes my stuff gets messy, but when I'm all done, I'll close it, clean it off. And something I think we all should have is a can of air. I can't tell you how handy that comes in. Ooh. Just wanted to, you know, make it a little more personal and share a little bit more details and make this as informative as possible. So let's get into my collection. Let's start off with my La Prairie. This is the Skin Caviar Loose Powder. Yes, I've repurchased and I will continue to repurchase. This is amazing. This is amazing. And yes, it pairs perfectly with the foundation. Very, very well. Truly an experience from the packaging to the performance to the actual product. All of that, A+. There is no denying. Love La Prairie. They recently did a shade extension on the foundations and I am so happy about it. I have been using that foundation nonstop. And so many of you have reached out to me and just have shared and raved how much you've been enjoying it as well. So I'm really happy about that. Anyways, this is a caviar infused silky loose powder. So this is the loose powder category. Now remember I told you how messy loose powder can be? I feel like this really, it's a small little feature, but it makes a lot of difference. Now with this La Prairie, it has a locking mechanism where you just flip that little switch there and it opens and closes so that you can take out the product. So packaging is great. There's also a full-size mirror up here, which is majority of the time dirty, so I don't really get to use it, but you can totally clean it and use it. It is a great mirror. It's functional. Packaging is an A+. Everything's glass, everything's luxe. You're getting what you pay for with this. This truly is the finishing touch for a perfected complexion through and through. I can use this to set my under eyes and it does that beautifully. I can use this to set my face. This is a product I love to use to just dust over whenever it's a skin day. I did my skincare, dust a little bit of powder, and that's it for the day. Does a great job, and it's Caviar infused. Remember, it's La Prairie, which is skincare focused, and then a little touch of makeup. They don't have a huge range when it comes to the makeup, but the products that they do have are solid, outstanding performing, and their skincare, oh, that's a whole nother video. I repurchased this because it's a product that I continuously reach for. I love the way it leaves my skin looking and feeling. Got a little touch of fragrance, but it's like the signature La Prairie scent. It does dissipate, it doesn't linger, it doesn't irritate my allergies. It's an enjoyable powder that leaves your skin truly perfected and beautiful. I'll stay on my La Prairie and then we'll go on to the next. But this is actually a powder foundation. Because it's La Prairie and it's skincare first and then makeup, I actually use this to set my under eyes, and it does a beautiful job. It's not supposed to be used like that, Monique. There was a day that I was not home and we were traveling and I had this and I used it to set the under eye and dusted it all over the face, and it looked phenomenal. I was very pleasantly and happily surprised at how well it worked. This is a very lightweight powder, very thin in texture and consistency. I prefer using this to set my under eye because it has a little bit of color. Again, it's a foundation, technically. And it gives a little touch of brightening to my under eye, just based on the color, as you can see here. Another Caviar infused skincare first and then makeup product, performs beautifully. And again, because it's a foundation technically, it gives a little bit of color, but the formula is so fine and beautiful that it looks great on the under eye. And you know, the under eyes, you got to be careful what you're doing under there or it can look really bad. But this is one of those products that it's like an exception product. It says it's for one thing, but I use it for what I want. And at the end of the day, everyone, you can use your stuff for whatever you want. It's yours, it's your face, it's your makeup. Have fun with it. Makeup is meant for that. It's not that serious, right? Okay. This one is from SISLEY Beauty. This is another powder I have repurchased a few times. This is SISLEY's Loose Face Powder. One and only complaint I have about this powder is that the packaging is just not my favorite because it's just holes at the top. There's no sifter, there's no lock. So it gets really messy, and I almost feel like that causes me to waste quite a bit of product. But the powder is so gorgeous that I keep repurchasing, and I will continue to repurchase. So SISLEY, we all know SISLEY has amazing skincare. SISLEY's powder is infused with that. This is also an extremely lightweight powder that just feels very airy, feels like nothing, sets everything, looks beautiful, wears amazing on the skin. I actually have a dedicated video to all of SISLEY's powders. We've been loving SISLEY from forever. Although this is a colored powder, it's not a heavily pigmented kind of powder. You're not gonna get like a ton of color from the powder, but this is something that's going to set and softly, naturally, skin-like mattify. I feel like you could call this a luminous matte, and hear me out when I say that, because I feel like that's a little tricky. And I remember when they first started saying products had that finish, a lot of us were like, really? What? So what I mean by that is this powder in particular, it's going to give you that natural, healthy skin finish. You're not going to be flat and dull. Yes, it's along the lines of the modern matte, but you also have that healthy skin finish. Chantecaille. Who remembers when we could not stop using this powder? I do. I keep this for sentimental purposes, but this is where the powder started. I believe this started as like a limited edition powder, and it did so well that they made it permanent. This is old, it's panned. I love this powder so much. Once they saw how great the powder did, they came out with medium deep and light medium. Yeah, I use light medium. Medium deep actually leaves a bit of a tint on my skin, and light medium doesn't. This is a newer one. I had to get a new one because, like I said, that one I was using for a really long time. This is the Chantecaille Perfect Blur Finishing Powder. Finishing powder. So your makeup's done, your makeup's already set. You would go in with a buffing brush. Let me find the perfect one and show you really, really quick, because this is really the best brush to use with it. I have this in the full size, and then they came out with a mini, but this is the Chantecaille Buff and Blur brush. This brush, you would swirl it in the powder and blend it on the skin in a nice, soft, circular motion. Now, you might be thinking, why would I want to do that and like muddy up my makeup and move my stuff around? The thing about this brush is it won't do that. It's going to softly blend your product in. Another one that would really work well too is this one from Sonia G. This is her buffer brush. So you see, you want to use brushes like this that are not super dense, but they're going to buff in product beautifully. So with this type of product, you're going to get blurred skin. This is like a filter, a real life filter on the face. And remember, that's what finishing powders are for. And this one is no exception. And I love this powder so much. I still love it. I know it went through a phase of hype, but it's a true staple in the collection. The great thing about this is, yes, it's a finishing powder. I can't tell you how many days I just use this on my skin. Just plain on the skin, nothing else, just because I want to look perfected and I don't want to wear makeup. Beautiful, beautiful product, and I can see why this is one of the top selling best sellers from the brand. I have another SISLEY powder to share with you, and this one's a little bit different, and I have a little complaint about it, but we can't have it all, clearly. So this is the SISLEY Blur Expert. This is a perfecting smoothing powder. When I first got this product, I was using it as a perfecting powder, like kind of like a finishing powder, kind of like put it on when you're done, buff it, blur it, go. This really works best kind of like a primer. I know that sounds weird, but they suggest you actually use this like a primer. So what you would do is you can use the brush like the ones I just showed you, like a buffing brush, and that's kind of what I like to do. Pick up the product and buff it into your skin before you go in with any makeup. Use this like that as the primer. You get a little bit more coverage just because it's a touch of powder, because if you mix powder with foundation you get more full coverage, but because this is a very light layer, you get a little bit more coverage from your foundation, concealer, you know, all those things, and it blurs and smooths and perfects the skin in a realistic way. Not anything heavy and cakey looking, but very smooth and nice. And I actually really like using this all on its own on a no makeup day, and it wears and looks beautiful that way. Now, yes, like I said, you can totally use this to finish up and touch up. It's a nice compact circles in the purse, nice. But personally, I have found great success with it as a pre-makeup product, prep kind of gig. Now, my problem with this product is they not recently, but they came out with another shade, yeah? Because this is the only shade they had for a really long time, okay? And you can see the color, it's perfect, I love it. But they came out with another shade and it was lighter, and I said, why wouldn't you do more than just one shade extension, SISLEY? You're pretty good with your complexion and color, you're pretty good, like, hello? I don't know. With great sadness, only because they recently changed the formula, and I don't want to find out what the new formula is because it's either been really raved reviews or hated. But the Givenchy, I was kind of like, do I even need to share this because it's the old formula and I don't think you can get it anymore? But it's a part of the collection and I want to share it with you because it's actually a really good product. They're saying the new one is completely different. I can't speak on that, but I want to share with you the Givenchy Prisme Libre Loose Powder. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Matte finish and enhanced radiant loose powder. Again, matte finish and enhanced radiance. Let me tell you, this powder, honestly, in my opinion, mainly is a blurring, perfecting, amazing powder. And I am so scared now to use it. I feel like I've been using it so sparingly, but that's okay. There are other amazing powders on the market, and maybe the new formula isn't that bad, but I have two shades. I have one that's more my skin tone-esque, and then one that's brightening. It's the pink one. I love the whole idea with this, whereas you have 4 colors and they meld and blend together once you get the product out. Like brightening and, you know, certain areas on my face, I'll go in with the lighter shade, and then I use this all over. Now, this is a product I like to use a couple of different ways. I'll go in with my brush, go in with a light layer, because again, like I always say, light layers are key, and that will always remain true. This is a product that I will go in with my poof, this thing, and I'll press it into the skin. I will not bake it. I will press it and then immediately dust it away, because again, baking, oof, leaves me cakey. But when I want more extended wear out of my makeup, and I know it's going to be a really long day, or I really want to remind my husband why he married me and it's date night and I really want to go real glam, I'll do that method where I press it into the skin with this and blend it away. This has been one of the most amazing powders I've experienced. It does an amazing job at leaving the skin looking flawless and making your makeup wear so well and just looks so good. So unfortunately, there's been a formula change and I can't speak on it, but I'm happy to have these in the collection. And I've just been going light-handed when I'm using them, but nonetheless, beautiful products. So I recently tried a new powder from Tom Ford. This replaced the previous one. I didn't get on that great with that one either, but I said, you know what, this is the new Tom Ford. This is the Estee Lauder Tom Ford. You know, it's going to be different. It's going to be better. This is the Architecture Soft Matte Blurring Powder. I have it in the shade number 3 Sahara Dusk. Okay. I was really excited about this. I didn't get on with this powder at all. I have it in the collection because I'm still trying to play around with it and see maybe, hey, I found a way to fall in love with it or something. I don't know. But this is supposed to be, as it sounds, a soft matte powder that blurs and perfects. They say you're supposed to use it to set, perfect, take it on the go, touch up, use it alone. I've tried all those things and it just doesn't look good on me. It looks like powder, it looks cakey, it looks heavy. And I keep trying because I've got that complex where I never want to give up and I want to try to make it work. But it's in the collection and I wanted to share it with you if you want to see this more in detail, because I have a dedicated video on Tom Ford Tuesday that you can definitely check out. And you let me know what you think. This powder came and stole my heart full on, grabbed it, took it and said, mine. It's the Prada powder. I have been nonstop with this. It is amazing. And I feel like I'm already, like, the little triangle has almost disappeared. And do you see the color of this? It's literally green. That's what made me a little reluctant on getting the powder, because I was like, wait a minute, why? That's going to look like green on my face. But this completely, no color, no cast, does an amazing job. I love this powder so much. I use this to set my under eye. I use it to set my face. I take it with and I use it to touch up. I love that it's refillable and the refills are available. Okay, so hey, what if you don't want to buy the whole thing? Just buy the refill. It's fine. This mattifies your skin, but not in a heavy, dull, flat, matte, dry kind of way. More of the shine is cut down, skin looks like skin, keeps your makeup in place all day and it looks so good. I don't get shine breakthrough until hours later. We've got a dedicated video to this too. And the primer and everything. So you're getting mattified, you're getting smoothed and perfected skin, you're getting makeup extension. This is just all you want in a powder, honestly. I feel like this is probably like pushing up on my top list very quickly. can't stop using it, really like this. And I love the fact that it's in a compact. Like, yeah, I love my loose powders, you know, but you gotta have a compact that you love. This is it. I have a powder I don't think I've ever shared with you. And that's fun. It's not a gate kept thing. It's just, I mean, I think I did film a video. Other things came up and I didn't get around to sharing the whole entire collection with you, but they actually sent me a bunch of their products. Florasis. This powder. Wow, I was not ready. I actually like to use this powder on my just skin because the color is a little hair touch dark, but I really like the performance, the look, the feel, just everything. I love the packaging. Hello, look at the packaging. Look at the way you have to open it, because I sat here literally for 5 minutes when I first got it and just was like fighting to open it. I was like, what in the world? And then I figured out you literally have to go like this, twist, and then lift. And it locks in place. And I like that actually because it's a loose powder. But I like using it on a no makeup day and just dusting it all over. This also will set makeup really beautifully and blur the skin, and it's very lightweight because it's so finely milled. The packaging on this brand is outstanding and their quality on their products is top notch. They also sent me their eyeshadow palette. This one, what is this one called? Gold Brown. You guys, look at the details on this thing. And I've used this a couple of times, and I really go in there with my brush, but the embossing, gorgeous. But this is a beautiful powder, and I don't think I've shared it with you guys, so sorry. Let's talk about this one from Christian Dior. Like, look at the packaging on this. Hello, how gorgeous. This is one of those products that the packaging is it, and the product is it. Like, double whammy. So good. This is categorized as a loose powder. Packaging includes a mirror, your poof, and it actually has a top, so it's separate from the powder, because then you lift up, and there's your powder. This is such an airy, lightweight, gorgeous powder. This is a powder I like to use on the no makeup days, on the glam makeup days, on the skin tint makeup days, set your under eye, dust it all over. She is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it's very skin-like, very natural, very lightweight, doesn't feel like anything. Bottom line is, all the powders that I have, I use, I share. I don't want to feel like they're powders on my face. And you know I'm a girl that loves for skin to look like skin. Yes, I can get heavy and cakey. Of course, we all have those moments where we want to be glam. I don't want to see a pore. I don't want to see a blemish. But I don't want to feel like that. This is definitely top tier when it comes to that. It's so beautiful on the skin. Cogendo. This is newer to my collection. But what a beautiful powder. This one actually, okay, it does have radiance to it, but in such a beautiful way. Don't love the packaging, that there's like no sifter. It's a little messy, but it's loose powder. It kind of just goes with the territory. That's what I tell myself. But this is a beautiful powder. And although it's more luminous, it doesn't look like it. It blurs, airbrushes, perfects you, but with that super healthy glow. But again, nothing over the top and obnoxious, just gorgeous. I'm very happy to have this in my collection. It was a recommendation, which I love. And I've been enjoying this a ton. They say to use it to set after foundation, after cream formulas, and to add a subtle radiance. Always keep your puff clean. Because your puff, it'll get built up with, you know, oils from your skin, just, you know, from everyday use. So that's with all your stuff. Hello. Good old Chanel. I don't feel like we hear about this powder enough. Natural Finish Loose Powder. It's messy. So good. This is another one I love on my no makeup days. I love on the skin days. Set everything, set the under eye, pat it in the skin, buff it all over. performs beautifully, looks amazing. We can't do cake. We don't do cake, and this is not cakey. It doesn't look like powdery, and I could just go on a rant about it now, clearly. I have it in the shade Translucent 3, and it's perfect. I love this so, so much. Another newer guy on the scene, but I haven't been able to put this thing down. We've got a dedicated video. So if you want to see it in action, wear test all the things, this is from Hourglass. This is their Vanish Airbrush Pressed Powder. I have it in the shade Translucent Tan. Hourglass knows a thing or two about powders, and this is no exception. This is great all on its own. It's not technically a powder foundation, but it just looks really beautiful on the skin. So when you put it on, you're not getting a ton of pigment and color, but your skin just looks perfected and blurred and airbrushed. That true Hourglass staple airbrush. They do that right. And it's not heavy. I think, yeah, this is talc free. So it's talc free. It's very beautiful on the skin. I love it. It's a great part of my collection, I have to say. My WESTMAN Atelier Vital Skin Care Pressed Powders. I have a majority of the shades, but we did a dedicated video on all of that. But I keep 2 in my drawer, and then I keep the others in my WESTMAN Atelier. I can't believe I have a WESTMAN Atelier drawer. It's out of control. Anyways, the 2 shades I use most, obviously, hi, if you're new here, and Mo and Pink Bubble is my favorite. Go-to every day. Set the under eye powder. It's not an under eye setting powder, but it's just works so good at that. It's so thin and light, and my concealer is set, but it still moves because it's such a thin, light powder. We've hit pan, y'all. Look at the pan. When you see the pan, you know the love is real. So the love is so real with this. And the great part about this powder is you can use it all over the face. The color, don't let the color scare you. Hang tight, let me show you. Don't let the color scare you. Hello. It just brightens. I've done TikToks, I've done all that you can imagine, dedicated videos, all the things. This is just one of the best powders. These powders allow your skin to still look like skin, but you're set. And these go so well with the WESTMAN Atelier products, which are skin. Just, it's all about the skin. And these are all about the skin. Gucci. I'm actually wearing the Gucci holiday collection on the eyes and as blush. This is Gucci's Matte Beauty Powder. Love the vibe, the packaging. Gucci is a full vibe. I'm sorry. I love the ink. Just, yeah. So, mirror compact. You've got your powder, and then I never am able to lift there. My nail will get jammed in. But you lift up, and you have your poof down below. I like that that's separate. I like that. Keeps everything separated, clean, all the things. Now, with this powder, I don't love it. It's fine, but I don't love it on top of like a full face. I prefer it kind of like a powder foundation. I kind of like it alone. I kind of like it on like a skin tint day. I like this on my lighter makeup days. It's beautiful. It does a great job, but I feel that when I go over foundation, it looks a little heavy. So I prefer it that way, and I love it because it looks so good that way. And that might just be me for whatever reason, but she's part of the collection. This. I don't use this a lot. I don't. It's from HERMÈS. It is the Radiant Matte Powder. The HERMÈS Plein Air Radiant Matte Powder. Hi, I'm Mo, which is short for Monique, and I gotta just tell you how it is sometimes. I don't think this is that great. I could totally live without this, and I would be perfectly fine. I love HERMÈS products. I love them. This is just, I don't know, it's okay. It kind of gives me a bit of a cast because it's super white. It'll blend away eventually, but I don't know. I don't really see any major I kind of have it and I'll use it because I'm like, you haven't used it. Use it. You spent all that money on it. Use it. I do that to myself sometimes. I know, crazy. And I'll use it and I'll be like, okay. It's okay. And if you love this, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like, but I don't know. I just don't love it, okay? This next product makes up for it 100 times over. This is from M Cosmetics. I did share this in a testing new makeup, but this is a really good powder. It's so lightweight. It feels like nothing. That kind of messes with me a little bit sometimes because I'll be sitting there putting it on and I'm like, dang, did I get any on my brush? But this is a great powder. It blurs, it smooths, it gives that nice finish to the skin. I love having this in my collection. I actually have 3 of these. They're from Huda Beauty. These are amazing, and I actually really like the colors. I love the colors. The colors on these, and the packaging really is my favorite. So yes, it actually comes with like an extra added little thing. Keeps the stopper clean, everything in there. It doesn't waste. I like that the most. Okay, love, love, love the packaging on the Huda powder. This has actually got a sifter. But man, oh man, oh man, I wish they didn't smell. I wish they didn't smell. And this is coming from a girl who can get on with the La Prairie, the Chanel smells. But this is just, it's too much. It's too much. But you make up for it with the blur and the filter that this gives your skin. The Cherry Blossom shade, I love it on my under eye. I love Peach Pie all over my face. I do have Kanafa. I had bought that first for my face, and I find it, the color is not the most perfect for me. So what I'll do is I'll just mix these two. I'll mix Peach Pie and Kanafa and perfection. Huda powder is a favorite by so many for good reason. It's a solid performing powder. It looks amazing. It sets product beautifully. It blurs and just perfects your skin without leaving it looking super flat and dull. It just looks good. You just look like good, perfected skin. Yes. And I actually love it with the new, I have the primer for this too, the Easy Blur. This I actually have to mix with another product because this is too dark for me. But wow. Huda has some good products. I gotta say it. Huda has some good products. This is my Christian Louis Vuitton powder. Packaging on this alone is such a vibe. Oh, and then the actual product is so outstanding. So you get a mirror and then you get your powder. Now here's the thing. The way that the Louboutin Beauty works is you buy the case and then you buy the actual product. So you would buy this and you get this. It's hollowed out. It's just that. Okay? And then you would buy your powder and then you would pop it in. Nice, easy. It's a vibe. This powder, I use this powder so many different ways. It is technically called the Versatile All Over Face Powder. Now, what the heck does that mean? I use this as powder foundation. I use this to set. I use this to touch up. I use this to do everything. And I love that about it most. I keep this in my purse a lot. On the days and the times where I don't have time to do nothing, I just grab this, dust it over, and you know what's great? I take a more dense brush and really get it on my under, and I get a little bit of coverage so it looks like I put on concealer, but obviously I didn't, and I love that. And it's beautiful, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. And I've been sharing this with you guys for a while. Most of these products I have dedicated videos to. So yes, I'm sharing application and all that with you and talking about it, but if you want even more, check out on the channel. There's a search tab on the channel. You can search anything you want there, or check out the playlist. So those are all my powders. Again, I love breaking it down and sharing more details and getting a little bit more in depth with the product instead of just, here, look, I have this, I have this, I have that. I feel like this is just like a little bit more, and you know, Mo, I always try to be different. I guess I'm the fish that swims against the tide, okay? What can I say? So next up is luxury mascaras. That's the one I'm trying to go through based on the order that the requests have come in. So I've been doing it that way. And then again, we'll slowly get through all of the collection and, you know, still keep up with all the other stuff, all the reviews, all the things. Share some of your favorite powders with me. Comment them down below. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today. Let me share another little bit of my collection with you. Take a moment and give today's video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. Stay beautiful, guys. I'll see you soon.